When my mother-in-law called her private security to escort me out of her house, I did something nobody expected. I stayed calm. I even smiled. Not because I was strong, but because I was tired. Tired of proving, explaining, defending, and holding a family together that no longer wanted me. That morning started like any other. Soft sunlight through the curtains, the quiet hum of the air conditioner, the light smell of coffee from the kitchen. My husband, Daniel, barely looked at me while getting ready. His mother had arrived 2 nights earlier, and since then, the house felt colder, tighter, almost suffocating. We used to laugh in this house. We used to sit at the dining table after dinner, holding hands, planning our future. But now, every word I said felt like a mistake. Every smile I gave felt unwelcome, and every step I took felt like I was walking on thin glass. When my mother-in-law called me to the living room, I knew something was wrong. She was sitting on the sofa like a queen, her expensive handbag beside her, her security guards standing near the door in black uniforms. "Sit," she said softly, as if she were a teacher about to discipline a child. I stayed standing. Her eyes narrowed. "You have made this house unstable. Daniel is stressed. I can see it. You leave today." I looked at my husband. He stared at the floor. Not one word, not one breath in my defense. The guards stepped closer. My heart broke, but my voice stayed quiet. "Okay," I whispered. Maybe they expected me to cry, scream, beg, but I didn't. I went to our bedroom, packed a small bag, took only a few clothes, and walked out slowly. I heard the guards' footsteps behind me, but I didn't turn around. I knew if I looked back, I would fall apart. As I stepped outside, it began to drizzle. Soft rain, like the sky was crying for me. I stood there for a moment, letting it fall over my face. It felt like a strange kind of comfort. When I finally reached the gate, Daniel came running. He said, "Wait," breathless. I paused, but didn't look at him. I didn't trust my eyes not to fill with tears. He said, "Mom is only thinking about my well-being. You misunderstand her." Those words hurt more than being escorted out by security. I nodded and whispered, "Take care of yourself, Daniel." And I walked away. I didn't know then that this painful day was only the beginning. There were truths still hidden, lies still waiting to surface, and a story much bigger than my heartbreak waiting for me. Before everything fell apart, life with Daniel felt gentle, not perfect, but peaceful. We met in a small coffee shop near my workplace. He was quiet, kind, the type of man who listened more than he spoke. I loved that about him. I loved the way he looked at people with soft eyes, as if he truly saw them. When we married, his mother didn't attend the ceremony. She sent a short message saying she was busy, but I always suspected it was something deeper. Daniel said, "Mom has strong opinions about everything. Don't take it personally." I tried to believe him. We moved into a cozy 2-bedroom house, warm colors, simple furniture, sunlight that filled the living room every morning. I filled the shelves with little plants. Daniel filled the walls with framed photos of our travels. It felt like ours, a place built with 2 hearts. For the first year, everything was smooth. We cooked together, watched old movies on weekends, and took long evening walks holding hands. Daniel used to say, "As long as you and I understand each other, nothing else matters." I held on to those words like a promise. But things changed when his mother started visiting more often. She never said anything rude to me directly, but her silence was sharper than any insult. She would sit at the dining table watching me cook with a blank expression. She would rearrange the kitchen after I cleaned it. She would whisper to Daniel behind closed doors. And slowly, he became distant. He stopped laughing as much. He started spending more time at work. When he came home, he went straight to his mother's room. Yes, she had a room now, before greeting me. I kept telling myself, it's just temporary. She will leave soon. Things will go back to normal. But the temporary became permanent. I remember one evening when I tried to talk to Daniel. I said, I feel like I'm losing you. He sighed, didn't meet my eyes, and replied, you're imagining things. That night, I cried quietly in the bathroom so he wouldn't hear. Little by little, I felt myself disappearing from my own marriage. I didn't know how much influence his mother had over him. I didn't know the kind of power she held, and I didn't know the secrets she had been hiding, secrets she was willing to protect at any cost. If I had known, I might have prepared myself. But love makes us blind, and I was completely blind. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more emotional real-life stories. I always believed that families fall apart suddenly, like a door slamming or a loud argument. But for me, it happened quietly. Soft moments, small comments, little cracks that formed day by day, until one morning I looked at my marriage and realized it was no longer mine. It started with tiny things that almost felt harmless. One afternoon, I walked into the kitchen and found my mother-in-law reorganizing everything again, the plates, the spices, even the fruit basket. She didn't look at me when I entered. I tried to sound gentle. Is something wrong with the way I keep things? She smiled without warmth. Some people just don't know how to manage a home properly. It is not their fault. Her words were soft, but they stung deeply. When Daniel came home, she pulled him aside. I heard her whisper, she doesn't know how to run a household. You deserve better. I stood in the hallway, pretending not to hear. I told myself, she's just stressed. She doesn't mean it. But deep down, I knew she did. Days turned into weeks, and the distance between Daniel and me grew wider. He stopped asking me how my day was. He stopped sitting next to me on the couch. Even our dinners felt like polite meetings instead of shared moments. One night, I tried again. Daniel, do you still want to make this marriage work? He sighed, looking tired. Can we not talk about this? Mom thinks you're overreacting. I swallowed my pain. I didn't want to be the dramatic wife his mother painted me to be. Then came the moment that changed everything. I woke up one morning to the sound of drawers opening and closing. When I entered the living room, my mother-in-law was going through my things, my mail, my documents, even my personal notebook. My voice trembled. Why are you touching my things? She looked at me calmly. I have the right to know what type of woman lives with my son. I felt my chest tighten. This is my home too, I whispered. She stepped closer, her voice cold. No, it is my son's home, and soon he will understand that you are not the right person to share it. For the first time, I felt real fear. Not fear of her, but fear of losing everything I had built with Daniel. When he returned home that evening, she told him I had attacked her. She said I was unstable, emotional, disrespectful. She even wiped fake tears from her eyes. And Daniel believed her. He looked at me with a sadness I had never seen before, as if I had disappointed him beyond repair. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, realizing something painful. I was fighting a battle I didn't even understand, a battle his mother had started long before I entered his life, and I was slowly losing. There is a special kind of pain that comes not from shouting, but from silence. The silence of someone you love choosing not to defend you. The silence of a home that no longer feels like it belongs to you. And the silence inside your own heart when you realize you are becoming a stranger in your own life. The day everything shifted, the house felt unusually quiet. No clattering dishes, no soft music from the living room, just a heavy, uncomfortable silence. I walked into the kitchen and saw my mother-in-law with her phone in hand, speaking in a low voice. She ended the call the moment she saw me. Her eyes held that familiar coldness. She didn't waste a second. "You should start packing," she said calmly. I blinked in confusion. Packing? For what? She folded her arms, almost pleased with herself. "Daniel has decided that you need some time away for your emotional state." My hands began to shake. My emotional state? I haven't done anything. She smiled like someone delivering a victory. "I told him you yelled at me, that you tried to push me. He believes me. Why wouldn't he? I am his mother." My chest tightened. It felt like all the air had been sucked out of the room. I whispered, "Why are you doing this to me?" Her answer was simple. "Because you do not belong in this family. You never have." I stepped back, hurt, confused, helpless. I wasn't perfect, but I had tried. I had tried so hard to make peace, to make this house a home, to make Daniel feel loved. But her mind was already made up long before I arrived. When Daniel came home in the evening, he didn't hug me. He didn't ask me what happened. He just looked tired, defeated, and distant. He said softly, "Mom thinks you need a break. I think maybe she's right." Those words broke something inside me. A break? From what? Loving you? He looked away, unable to meet my eyes. "You've been stressed, emotional, and Mom, she's just trying to help." I almost laughed from the hurt. Help? By pushing me out? His silence was the answer. That night, I sat on the edge of our bed, staring at the small suitcase I had pulled out. I didn't pack it. I couldn't. I needed time to breathe, to think, to understand how everything had collapsed so quietly. But I knew then, she wasn't just trying to hurt me. She was trying to erase me. Erase my place in the family. Erase my presence in Daniel's life. Erase our marriage. And worst of all, Daniel couldn't see it. Not yet. But soon, something would happen that would open his eyes in a way his mother never expected. And that moment was coming closer than she realized. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more emotional, real-life stories. The night I almost packed my bags, I couldn't sleep. I sat near the window with the curtains half open, watching the streetlights flicker on and off. The whole neighborhood felt peaceful, except for the storm quietly growing inside my chest. Daniel slept on his side of the bed, turned away from me. Even his breathing sounded distant, as if he were already in another world, one where I no longer existed. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. At first, I ignored it, assuming it was some promotional message. But something made me check it anyway. It was an unknown number. When I answered, a soft but urgent voice said, "Ma'am, this is about your husband." My heart froze. The woman continued, "I work at the private security agency his mother hires. I'm not supposed to call you, but I think you need to know something." I felt a chill run through me. "What is it?" I whispered. She hesitated, as if afraid of being caught. "Your mother-in-law instructed her security team to monitor everything you do. Your routines, where you go, who you meet, even your personal conversations." I pressed my hand against my mouth to hold back a cry. She spoke quickly, almost in a whisper. "She wants proof that you're unstable. enough evidence to remove you from the house permanently and legally. I felt the air leave my lungs. And there is something else, the woman added. My voice trembled. What? Please tell me. Your husband doesn't know the full truth. He thinks she's protecting him, but she's hiding something big. I gripped the edge of the windowsill. Hiding what? She's been manipulating him for years, especially about finances. There are documents, large amounts of money being moved from his accounts to hers. She told the team to keep this hidden from you. My heartbeat was loud in my ears. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Her answer broke me. Because you're not the villain she wants to make you seem. And one day when the truth comes out, he will need someone who didn't give up on him. The call ended before I could ask more. I sat there in shock, the room spinning slowly around me. The truth was larger, darker, and deeper than I could have ever imagined. This wasn't just about jealousy or control. This was about power, money, secrets, and a mother willing to destroy anything or anyone to keep her son blind. I looked at Daniel sleeping peacefully, unaware of the world being built behind his back, a world designed to make me disappear. I wiped a tear and whispered to myself, I will not leave until he knows the truth. For the first time in months, a quiet strength filled my heart. The battle wasn't over, but now I finally understood what I was fighting.
The next morning, I woke up with a heaviness in my chest, but also a strange sense of clarity. For the first time, I wasn't confused. I wasn't doubting myself. I wasn't wondering if I was the problem. I finally knew. There was a truth behind all of this. A truth my mother-in-law had buried deep. A truth Daniel had been kept blind to. And I needed proof. While Daniel and his mother were downstairs having breakfast, I quietly walked into the small office room where he kept his documents. The door wasn't locked. Maybe he trusted everyone too easily. Maybe he never imagined someone in his own family could betray him. Inside, everything looked neat and untouched. But I knew better. I opened the drawer where he kept his personal files. Bills, bank statements, insurance papers. I flipped through them with trembling hands. At first, everything looked normal. Until I found a folder labeled with a date from 2 years ago. It wasn't thick, just a few papers. But when I opened it, my breath caught in my throat. It was a transaction record. Large amounts of money, Daniel's money, transferred every few months to an account under his mother's name. Not small transfers, life-changing amounts. My heart pounded. Was this what she was hiding? Was this why she needed me out of the picture, so he would never question her? Suddenly, footsteps echoed down the hallway. I froze. The door swung open, and Daniel stood there. At first, his face showed surprise, then confusion, then something else. Hurt. "What are you doing?" he asked quietly. I held the papers close to my chest, trembling. "Daniel, please, I need you to see this." He stepped closer. "Why are you going through my things?" I swallowed my fear. "Because your mother is hiding something from you. I didn't want to believe it, but it's true. Look at this." I handed him the folder. His hands shook slightly as he opened it. His eyes moved over the numbers slowly, carefully, like he wasn't sure if he was reading it right. For a moment, he didn't say anything. Then softly he whispered, This can't be right." His mother's voice interrupted from behind him.
Daniel, step away from her. She stood there, calm but cold, a queen protecting her kingdom. Daniel looked between us, between the woman who raised him and the woman he promised to love. My voice broke. I'm not trying to turn you against her. I just want you to know the truth. Her mother moved forward and grabbed the folder from his hands. You don't need to see this. She's trying to manipulate you. For the first time, Daniel didn't look convinced. He looked scared, conflicted, unsure. And in that moment, I felt hope. Quiet, tiny, but real. Because he had finally seen the first crack in the wall she had built around him. And once a wall cracks, the truth always finds a way through. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more emotional real-life stories.
That evening, something in the atmosphere of the house changed. It wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet, like the moment before a storm breaks open. A tense, heavy stillness that made every breath feel slow and careful. Daniel barely spoke during dinner. He kept staring at his plate, pushing the food around without really eating. His mother kept glancing at him, her eyes sharp, watchful, almost nervous. And I sat there in silence, my heart beating in soft, painful thumps. After dinner, Daniel stood up abruptly. I need some air, he murmured. He walked outside to the porch. His mother followed, but he gently raised his hand to stop her. Please, I need to think alone. Those words surprised her. They surprised me too. She stayed in the hallway, watching him through the glass door, her jaw tight. I could almost feel her fear. The fear of losing control. The fear of losing the version of her son she had shaped carefully for years. Finally, she went upstairs without saying a word. I walked outside, slowly, giving Daniel space, but not wanting to leave him alone. I stood a few feet away. The night air was cool, the sky cloudy, the streetlights glowing softly. Moments passed before he spoke. Why didn't you tell me earlier? His voice wasn't angry. It was tired, hurting. I took a breath. Because I wanted to believe she loved you too much to ever hurt you, and because I knew you wouldn't have believed me. He looked down at his hands. She told me you were unstable, emotional, that you were trying to separate me from her. I swallowed hard. I was trying to protect our marriage, not destroy it. He closed his eyes for a moment. I don't know what's true anymore. I stepped a little closer. Daniel, look at the numbers again. Look at the dates. I didn't create those. I didn't change anything. I only found what was already there. He didn't speak for a long time. When he finally did, his voice broke a little. I trusted her my whole life, and I trusted you with mine. He looked up then, truly looked at me, and for the first time in months, I saw the man I married, not the son trapped under someone else's influence. Before either of us could say anything more, the porch light flickered on. His mother stood at the doorway, arms crossed, expression cold. Daniel, she said sharply, come inside. We need to talk. He didn't move. Daniel, she repeated, firmer this time, but he stayed where he was, still, quiet, thinking. And that simple refusal, that simple silence, was the first real fracture in the power she held over him. A small moment, But it changed everything. Because that was the moment she realized she was losing control.
The next morning felt different. The house was quiet, but not the usual heavy silence I had grown used to. This was a new kind of quiet, like the air was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Daniel woke up early. He didn't say much, but I could see something had shifted inside him. The confusion from last night had turned into determination, a quiet strength that I hadn't seen in a long time. He walked downstairs and stood in the living room, holding the folder of financial documents. His mother was already there, sitting on the sofa with a cup of tea, pretending everything was normal. He didn't sit. He didn't smile. He simply said her name in a calm but steady voice. "Mom, we need to talk." She froze, the cup halfway to her lips. "What is it now?" He opened the folder. "You've been taking money from my accounts." She set her cup down, slowly, carefully. "Your wife is filling your head with lies." He shook his head. "No, these documents were not created by her. They were signed by me and by you." Her eyes hardened. "You were too young to understand your finances. I was helping you." He stepped closer. "Helping me or controlling me?" Her jaw tightened. "I did what I had to do. Everything I did was for your good." His voice cracked, just a little. "You tried to ruin my marriage for my good?" She stood up quickly, her voice rising for the first time. "You are turning him against his own mother." I stepped into the room quietly, not wanting to add to the fire. "I'm not turning him against you," I said softly. "I only want him to see the truth." She took a deep breath, trying to regain control. "You do not deserve him. You never have." Daniel turned to me then, and something in his eyes softened. He said, "Mom, that's where you're wrong." His mother stared at him, stunned. He continued, "She stood by me, even when you convinced me to doubt her, even when you tried to make her leave. She didn't give up on me." Her face crumbled for the first time, not in anger, but in fear. "Daniel," she whispered, "I was afraid of losing you." He closed his eyes for a moment, then spoke gently. "You were never going to lose me, but you pushed so hard that you almost made me lose the one person who loves me without conditions." She sank onto the sofa, tears forming but not falling. Daniel turned to me and took my hand. He said, "I'm sorry," he said quietly, "for not seeing sooner, for letting things get this far." I felt my own tears rise. He pulled me close, and for the first time in a long while, the house felt warm again. His mother didn't say anything else. Maybe she finally understood. Maybe she needed time to face her own mistakes. But that day, something healed between Daniel and me. Not perfectly, not instantly, but gently, like sunlight returning after a long storm. And I learned something important. Sometimes love survives not because it's easy, but because two people choose to fight for the truth together. If you enjoyed this emotional story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more heartfelt real-life stories. Comment more stories if you want another series.